All right, we're going to look at this map and distinguish between the district courts and the United States Court of Appeals, or the United States Circuit Courts. There are 94 district courts. Those are the ones that hear all of the evidence. They have original jurisdiction, and each state has one, and you can see the dotted lines that are running throughout here. Each one of those dividing lines is a federal district, where a federal district court is. So Washington has one on the west and one on the east. Indiana has one federal district court up by South Bend. I'm actually not sure where the one in the south is. But Illinois, it looks like it's got three lines, or three courts. North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, all of these out west, most of these states only have one. And again, the more population, the more courts you're going to need. Looks like Texas has quite a few. But anyway, then you'll see the number, all right? So these lines represent the divisions between the 94 district courts. The grouping by color, that's your Court of Appeals. So if you are seen at the district level in South Bend, you've broken a federal law, you go to federal court up there, you've been found guilty, and you want to appeal the decision, then you are going to appeal it to the 7th Circuit Court, the United States 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. If you're in California, in any one of these district courts, and you don't like the outcome of your trial at the federal district court level, then you would appeal to the 9th Circuit. There are 13 circuits, so you can see 11 here, and then you've got the DC Circuit, and then the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. And so we're not going to really talk about that, but for the most part, what's going to happen again, if you don't like what happens in one of those 94 district courts, then you will appeal to the circuit court or the Court of Appeals, wherever you're at. One of the things that you need to know that's really important is you could have someone being charged in this in a district court that appeals to the 7th Circuit. You could have someone who's been charged with the same crime out west, and when they appeal, they go to the 9th Circuit. You can have somebody who's got a very similar, if not the exact same case down here in Florida, and they would appeal to the 11th Circuit. So what you have is potentially, because different ideologies of these district court judges, you could potentially have the 7th Circuit interpret and rule one way on your appeal, and then you could have the 9th Circuit justices on those appeals courts rule a completely different way. The 9th Circuit tends to be very liberal. The 5th Circuit tends to be very conservative. This is kind of a mix of both conservative and liberal states. But for the most part, 5th Circuit, if they want to get a case through and overturn something that is that the conservatives are passionate for, they're going to try to get their case down here in one of these district courts, so that when they appeal it, they're going to be able to appeal it to the 5th Circuit and probably get a ruling that will go in the direction that conservatives want. Again, if you are a liberal and there is a liberal cause that you are trying to get before the Supreme Court, you are probably going to try and sue someone out here and get it appealed to the 9th Circuit. The odds of the judges from the 9th Circuit and the 5th Circuit ruling on the same exact case the same way, they might, but then again, they might not. And so that is a surefire way to get a case to the Supreme Court, is when you have two circuit courts ruling opposite on the same exact issue. That's really, really important. And then obviously the Supreme Court is going to grant cert if it is a question of constitutionality, or if it's one of those civil rights and civil liberties cases. Sorry about that. Just wanted to look at my notes real quick. What happens is, if you get a ruling in one of these courts, Your next step would be to appeal to the United States Supreme Court. Remember, it takes 4 of the 9 justices to decide to hear your case. Once they grant cert, you send your briefs. They hear that court case, then whatever the Supreme Court rules obviously is the opinion, and that's what stands. If the Supreme Court denies cert and you cannot appeal and they do not take your case, whatever the circuit, this lower Court of Appeals decided, that is going to stand, and that will set the precedent.